And welcome back. Well, if you're ever hurt at work, one of the first and most important things that you should do is report it. Most employers have workers' compensation benefits, so it's also important to know what to do next and to understand your options. Alex Eichhorn is an attorney with Tabak Law, and they specialize in helping injured workers. He's here to tell you what you need to know now so that you can get the benefits that you deserve. Good to see you, Alex.
Thank you very much for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is something, there's probably a lot of people at home. You know, they've been hurt on the job, they're at home, and they don't know really what to do next. How long do you have to report it? And I know that's the most important thing to do.
Yeah, so the statute of limitations in workers' compensation is extremely long. It's 6 years as of about 2 years ago, and prior to that it was 12 years, so a really long time. There's a reporting requirement of you let your employer know within 2 years. However, I would say that's quite lackadaisical. If indeed your employer should have or could have known, that's adequate to allow them or to inform them of your injury.
That's really helpful because I think a lot of people worry, like, I didn't say anything, it's been a couple years, but now I'm having all these issues. So to know that you've got some time, that's important. One thing that you guys do is you meet with people for free and you really assess their injury through a consultation.
And that's exactly right. So we don't charge a single dollar to meet with individuals who after a work injury. Our consultations are free. You can come in, meet with an attorney, or speak with us over the phone. And this is what we do on a daily basis. You know, we recovered over $3 million in indemnity benefits last year for injured workers, so we're certainly knowledgeable about what's necessary and how to get the benefits that are provided to you through the state. Now, I did want to clarify a little bit regarding the letting your employer know. On an occupational injury, and these are claims that we see oftentimes, let's say you work in a factory and you were doing heavy lifting frequently or infrequently even over a period of 1 year, 2 years, a decade, several decades, and you start realizing after you retire or after you continue working and maybe moving to a lighter job that your back begins hurting. And you go to your doctor and he says, hey, what kind of work were you doing? And you may have been a CNC machinist or a laborer. And it's quite intuitive that years and decades of manual labor and physical labor can have a detrimental effect on your back. Yeah. And the causative factor is fairly minimal. You need to demonstrate that there was a material contribution. So really, we've had a great deal of luck in getting our clients the benefits that they're entitled to after years and years of heavy labor and then having this back injury. We reach out to their doctors and explain to them the law. Yeah. It's not that it has to be a direct crushing incident like you were crushed under a pallet.
Right.
It can be something that's over a period of years contributed to your back pain. And that there's no reporting requirement because like you said, you may not even realize it until a few years after. Hey, my back's hurting. I haven't done anything different. I'm 50 years old. You go see your doctor. They do an MRI and they see advanced degenerative changes that wouldn't be seen in an average, say, 50-year-old. And then your doctor, knowing your work history and knowing you as a person, can make this material contribution.
I think that gives a lot of people some relief just hearing that. I know that there's someone listening to that saying, oh my gosh, that's me. So when they meet with you, it's a free consultation. You go through the history, you talk about what the injuries are, you assess their potential claim. There's no fee to you unless you win.
That's exactly right. So you meet with us again, the initial consultation's free. If we indeed determine that we will take on your claim, sometimes it can take, several months. However, more frequently it's taking years because we're waiting for the individual to reach their healing plateau. Upon that time, we're collecting medical records, getting bills, reaching out to their doctors to get narrative statements, because that's really so important. When we go to court, the defense attorneys are going to have their doctors who provide an opinion. It's so very important that from the very get-go, we're working to get your doctors on board and getting them and making sure that they're willing to assess you as a work-related injury. So it's very important.
You're doing a lot of stuff, and those things cost money. So if they don't win the case, does that fall back on the person?
It does not, and we vet every case that we're taking on. If you come into my office, generally speaking, I've been doing this for now over 6 years. I have a very good idea of if we're going to be able to help you and what the likely outcome may be. But going back to what you said, no, we eat that cost. So if indeed we request a report from your doctor and it costs $600, $700, $800, we eat that cost. You don't end up paying us back unless we win.
That's great. So what you need to do if you're unable to work after you have an injury is make sure that you get your loss of earnings capacity claimed. Make sure that you know what you've lost, correct?
Absolutely. So,
and then vocational retraining, what is that?
So those two areas, the loss of earning capacity claim, we oftentimes see if indeed you're injured at work and you're unable to return to that job. So now you have a back injury, you're in construction, you bring your restrictions to your employer, they say, sorry, we cannot help you, we don't have employment. Then you're entitled to what's called the loss of earning capacity. So we would send you to a vocational expert and maybe a functional capacity evaluation to determine the extent of your injury and how that would affect your future vocational capacity. And then in regards to vocational retraining, this is for injuries of the extremities. So your arms, legs, if indeed, again, you're unable to return to your work, you're a construction worker, you lose your left arm, let's say extreme example, now you can't return to doing construction work. What your employer has a duty to do is pay for you to go back to school, and during that period of time that you're back in school, pay for your lost wages. So, and that's a claim that's never conceded by the employer or by their workers' compensation insurance company.
It's a lot of stuff people would never know, and they won't know unless they meet with you. So I want to make sure everybody's got the information for a risk-free consultation. It's free at Tabak Law to meet with Alex Eichhorn. Here's how you do that. It's 414-351-4400 or visit tabakattorneys.com. You can find out more information there as well. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, important information.